Welcome. I'm Ezekiel.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're here today for another episode of Marriage Matters Live. Yes, we're here.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Those of you that are joining us today, really appreciate you guys. Those of you who've been waiting around before the stream started, we appreciate you greatly.
Definitely.
Those of you in the in-house studio today, special shout out goes to you guys. And also, those of you watching this on a replay after the fact, thank you so much. Don't be a stranger. Do add your comments in the comment section on this page below the video.
Yes. And if you're joining us for the first time, and if you're not joining us for the first time, but you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, share the video. Like I always say, you never know who it's going to bless. You never know who you're going to bless just by sharing the video, the live stream tonight. So yes. It's always good. Welcome.
Howdy. All right. So as we've said, it's great to be here with you guys. Good evening, Mrs. Akinwin, Miss Diligence. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. It's been an interesting week, eh?
It really has.
For those of you who don't know, this was Sarah's birthday week.
Yes,
and thanks to the great team working behind the scenes,
my days.
We've got an awesome bunch.
Absolutely.
Not one, not two, but three. She had three birthday surprises this week.
Awesome celebration.
It was really, really epic. Yeah. It was epic. This was an epic week.
It really was.
If I do say so myself.
Yeah. No, it really was. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, if I'm smiling throughout today's show, it's just because my heart is filled with so much joy. It's such a blessing, to be honest. We mustn't take life for granted. To celebrate every year is such a blessing. Even to see a morning, even you go to sleep and you wake up, we have to be thankful for that alone.
That's grace, that's right.
More or less a whole year that we've been privileged with. So every day we celebrate. Every year you get older, it just rejoice, because a lot of times I'm getting older. No, it's a blessing.
Absolutely.
To be getting older.
Come on now.
It really is, and we mustn't be afraid of aging. Because it's a blessing.
Not at all.
Not like,
So I'm glad. I thought you were actually going to say, if you're beaming for the rest of the show, it's just because you enjoy my company. But I see.
That's all, babe. That's all.
Okay.
Always.
I hear you.
Always.
So special shout outs to the birthday gang. You know who you are. You know what you did. You know your contribution. We love you greatly.
Greatly.
All right. On with the show. Today, we're talking about something a little interesting. Sister Sarah's been quizzing me a little bit. We've been discussing it as we've been doing some research and tackling this. You know what we're talking about today?
Yeah. Well, you call it getting rid of the funk.
That's right. We want to talk about clearing the funk in your marriage. Clearing the funk in your relationship, clearing the funk in your marriage.
Yes.
Some people even going through that period of courting. You're courting, and then you kind of feel that funk. That kind of the challenge, that kind of heaviness. They call it. There's so many different phrases for it.
It's
basically.
True. It's so true.
But essentially, we're just talking about those kind of down moments. You have your highs, and then you've got those lows, and we want to constantly get out of those low sections and get us kind of on those highs or on that. We don't want to be on the low end of the spectrum. We want to be from the mid to the high point of the spectrum constantly. Do you know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
You definitely can't go wrong with that, with free surprises, right? Free birthday surprises. So. So we want to tackle some of that today. Hopefully, as we always say, this show is really about you guys contributing, your comments, your engagement. You guys really help us foster this conversation.
Yes,
so
definitely.
Maybe you don't know, but we can talk for days. It's just
long time.
You know what I'm saying? Just we've
which
built
is such
that.
a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a blessing.
Absolutely.
Because I think for us, that is one of the joys that we have. Even sometimes, when we're not talking as much, it's kind of like, is he okay? When the communication's not as high, I think that's like a sign for us to say, okay, find out if one of you are, if the other person's okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like a sign for us when we're not so chatty in a sense that how's your day going, or is there something going on in your mind and that kind of stuff. So we can talk.
Absolutely. So constantly enjoying that aspect of our relationship. and understanding how for us it's pivotal, it's foundational. We speak to couples, and some of them, you know, don't talk, they don't engage, they have a desire to engage or to talk more or to be heard more, even for that fact. So
that's true. That's a good thing, to be heard more.
So we'll probably tackle some of that as we move forward. So let's go forward. Let's really kind of talk about some of the reasons why our relationships get stale. So this funk, we're talking about kind of the staleness. You're out of the honeymoon period, you're out of the first kind of the blossoming years, and you find as time's progressing, there's a lull that kind of sets in, and you kind of get familiar. I think that's one of the big things. One of the big things is, you know, when you first meet someone,
everything's in order.
And
everything's in order. You're in order. Your look is in order. Your hair is in order. Your mind is in order. You know, you got a bit of change on the side and your back. You know, everything's in order. You know, you kind of know where you're going. You know what you're doing. But then when you enter into the marriage, sometimes it's like, what was I doing again before this? You know, it's kind of like almost like a distant memory for some people. But again, it depends on how long they've been in the marriage as well.
I think it depends on. You're right. It depends on. It depends on the length of the marriage, so the time of the marriage, but also depends on the characters who are coming together. Basically, you know, you've as you said. I was gonna tackle the side of you know, the perfume was smelling nice, the aftershave was on, and then after people kind of getting a little relaxed at home, and you know, maybe just kind of doing some of the things that you wouldn't have done on the first date.
24-hour headscarf. You know, headscarf never come off. You know, always in pajamas.
Something like that, you know, passing wind kind of super freely, you know what I mean?
All those things. Although, you know, for some people that does take a lot of time. Some people still ain't doing that. Some people still are not at that level. So
let me throw it at you. So what do you think are some of the reasons? What are some of the reasons that people find themselves in that kind of, that comfortable position? Their relationship is beginning to become stale. So they were together and it was she looks so hot, he's just so charming, he's a big romantic, she's
gets along with my family.
Yeah.
You know, she's nice, or she engages, or she's so good with children. All of these things, I guess.
I want to tackle the more personal bits where, so it's like,
that one-to-one.
So it's kind of like, I'm speaking, you know, you're first getting together and he's paying attention to your every word. And she sees him as Mr. the knight in shining armor, you know, her superhero. But then as time goes on, that view, that vision of you kind of, if we can use the phrase, the one, begins to kind of dwindle. So why says what's some of the reasons that you see for that?
I guess it's expectation.
Come on now.
As soon as you're saying it, for me, it's expectation. Because a lot of the times, you know, I'll speak from the female side. You can speak it from the male side.
Let's do it.
Women have an expectation of what the husband should be.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Of what this man in her life should be. Because, you know, regardless of what, automatically, the husband takes that position of your father, your brother, your best friend, you know, your boss in a sense, you know, all these things, your counselor, your lover, you know, everything. Like, you know, your husband takes that role. So I feel like it's built on this high expectation of all these ideologies that some women or we women can have when we enter into a marriage. Because obviously, you know, realistically there should be there's two sections. There's the before marriage guy and there's the after married guy.
I'm listening.
But a lot of the times people don't differentiate the two. There's the before married guy should be the same after married guy, in a sense, although automatically his responsibilities have already changed.
That's right.
He's taken a serious position now. He's actually taking you to the next step. So for me, I just kind of feel like it's the expectations that we have that causes this to begin to sort of, I think one of the words that was coming to my mind sometimes when I think about it's like that bad taste. You know, when something's starting to go sour. Why is it going sour so quick? You know, like sometimes you cook something and, you know, you leave it out. If it's a warm day, it's going to go off really quickly. But if it's a cold day, it might take a couple of days and you'll be like, oh, what's that smell? You know, kind of thing before you pick it up. So again, it's the expectation. Some women have a high expectation, so they catch on to this quite quickly and they're like, oh, you've changed. Oh, you're not, you know, who I'm. Whereas some women are a little bit slower on that, in the sense that I'm going to give this time. I'm going to give this time kind of thing. So for me, it's definitely like, I'm going to just start with expectation.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And
Expectation.
and I think, you know what, just based on what we've discussed over the last few weeks, something I find really, really key is where we build these things up from. We've touched on it so many times.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to foster the show right now, guys.
Guys, please put your comments in the chat section. Let us know where your ideas and what you think is the whole reason. If you're in a marriage and you feel like at the moment your marriage is in a bit of that place where you're like, I think we need a bit of help here. It's starting to feel a little bit, bunker.
That's right. So
yeah.
I think that's really powerful. So let me dial back. So the last few weeks we've been talking so much about, the last few shows we've been talking so much about that expectation and where the seed of those expectations, those ideals come from. And this is so powerful. And I think next show we do, we're going to be talking about the structure, kind of like the structure, your goals in marriage, that kind of stuff. Right. And really, this is why, and you guys hear me talk about this so often, and it's because it's so important.
Yeah.
These things are foundational to ensuring you have a successful relationship.
Yeah.
So we spend so much time educating ourselves for careers. I might be sounding like a ringing bell to some of you guys, but it's because it's so important.
It is.
We spend so much time on these things. For our culture, or the culture of our parents, is one where in which they really usher children into school and into the educational system. Yeah. And they do that because they see it to be super significant to their future. Expectations are powerful, says. Yeah. Real powerful. Because we push them into school and say, look, your future is really important. This education now is what's going to pay you. How many of us are educating ourselves about or being educated about our marital expectations? How many people? And with such a significance, it's like you look at life today, life is full of couples. Life is full of couples, says. We've got so many couples, so many married couples. And when you think about the union that got established between a man and a woman, and that coming together, how significant, how important is that as a factor? The world is full of us. The world is full of us.
It's true.
So why would we not educate people significantly on how to have successful marriages? And this is one of the things that really gets to me. I think you're spot on. When you talk about expectations, you're spot on, because these are the things that make or break. These are the things that can fuel or not fuel. And this is why when I talk about the goals and the plans and that kind of stuff we'll be visiting, this is why they're so important. Because those things help you to have a united expectation.
True.
I think that's so rich. I think you're right. Even for you, like throwing it back to me, as you were saying earlier on, from a male perspective, I think it's really key. I think for me, one of the things, expectation is key, but one of the things that I have found through conversation with husbands, with men, is distractions.
Oh wow!
So men are distracted.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was a strong one.
Women are distracted too, but what I found is that it's easy for men, and I'm speaking even from my own personal experience as well. Distraction sets in when we don't have a focus, when we're not focused on our relationship.
Yeah.
And we're distracted by, again, and I'll keep bringing it up, guys, but the mass media. When we're distracted by the ideals of our friends, of our community, when those things begin to distract us, just talking from my own personal experience, and I was going to bring this in later, but we can touch on it now since we're here. Work has been a distraction for me in times past, and I know you can attest to that.
Definitely.
Caught up with projects, caught up with work. And I feel as though during some of those periods, I've not invested as much in you or in our relationship as I could and should have, basically. So I think those things are kind of key from a male perspective. Distractions is a big thing. When a man is not focused on his responsibility at home, not just because some of us, it's kind of, we compartmentalize. I've got work, and at work I'm doing this and I'm grinding so I can bring money home so the family can be okay. Yeah. That's cool. But what about the emotional side of our relationship? What about the kind of the physical, the sensual side of our relationship? What about the children? There's so many capacities. So I think distraction, again, expectation is key. That I believe that is one of the foundational roots, but distraction is powerful, and it's a layer above that. And I think, especially, I'll kind of shout out to you guys who are courting, you guys who are kind of looking towards courting. These are things you really want to kind of pick up on early.
Definitely.
You want to be examining the people that you're engaging with, and you want to understand what are their expectations. Not just their expectations, you want to go a level forward, and especially my sisters, I'm talking to you really, you want to check in and see, like, is he distracted? Is he giving me the type of attention that he should be giving me? The scriptures tell us that, the faithful book tells us that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And it's important, because when we understand that there's a blessing that God is giving you through your wife, what we do is we're supposed to go after it. We should be going after our blessing. That's right. Do you understand that? And this
not
is
running away from it.
Listen, and I think some of us, once we've hit the safe zone, for many guys, then it's easy to kind of repel or just say, okay, you fit right there. And these are some of the challenges I think that we really need to address. Maybe today on the stream, and with some of the couples as well, because these are real issues.
And I think those 2 points are so powerful: expectations and distractions. Because even when you think about expectations comes from what we see, what we associate ourselves with, what we're allowing the media to portray for us.
That's right.
Distractions, again, what we're looking at, what's taking our attention, what's taking our time, what's taking our focus. So all of these things, because if couples right now are really honest, when things begin to break down, what can you pinpoint it to? What are the 2 main things that you can say, actually, this is where I think this marriage is beginning to kind of go downhill? What is causing the marriage to begin to go downhill? And a lot of the times it can be that distraction, the fact that, everyone's busy, mum's busy with the children. Even if you haven't got children yet, you'll probably find yourself so occupied with other things. Whether it be education, trying to lose a few pounds, your friends that you still haven't let go of, constantly taking up your time and distracting you. So many different things. Education. It could be so many different things for those who do not have children yet, because not every marriage has children involved, but yet still marriages without children are still full of distractions and full of high expectations. So I really feel, for me, that those 2 points that we've just made are very, very, very powerful points, and they kind of, like, for me, are on the top of the list.
Those kind of high level issues.
Yes, when it comes to why a relationship can begin to break down.
I think so. Says is tackling some real good points here when she's talking about what are the telltale signs. What are the signs that you see? The signals that are kind of
showing themselves, showing up. But the funniest thing is, when those signals are beginning to show, we still miss them.
That's right.
We still miss them. Hence why things get deeper and deeper. And a lot of marriages find themselves in a place where they're like, when did it get this bad? When did this happen? When did we stop talking? When did we stop eating dinner at the same time?
Come on now.
When did we stop, I was going to say, showering at the same time? When did we stop being close?
That's right. Come on now.
When did we stop being close? And I really think, like...
Did we stop getting close, babe?
Oh, heck no. Babe, that's not... Sorry, guys. Still birthday weekend, Anyway, so there are these things, but then it's really easy to miss those signs, and I really believe, like, it's really important in marriage to be able to read your husband or your wife's signals. Like, really find, like, if there's certain things going on, you should be able to pick that up.
That's powerful.
Because a couple should be so in tune with each other that this might sound really strange. I don't know if, some of you couples do experience it, where when your husband or your wife is feeling a certain way, you actually sense it.
Yeah. You
experience something, and that's like a sensitivity in the connection, which marriages should have, because it's not that someone comes to your house and they're like, yo, what's wrong with your husband? Is there something wrong with him? It's just like, and the person's like, well, he's a bit different today. Or she's not, she didn't cook that jollof rice like she normally used to. There's something up. Do you know what I mean? Something's not right, So it shouldn't be someone else having to come and say to the husband or the wife, what's going on? You should be able to pick it up with each other in a sense. So yeah, that's the point I want to make.
That's powerful. And I think that's the question I've write to you guys out there. Do you know your spouse? Are you in a courting situation? Do you feel like you really know your
other half? Yeah, your better half.
Your soon to be husband, soon to be wife. And it's really, really key, because I think we're not just talking about knowing each other in the typical sense. Like, I know what he likes to eat. I know X, Y, Z. You're talking about really having a deeper kind of emotional understanding, an emotional connection, wherein which you can sense the imbalance, and it doesn't have to necessarily manifest or kind of show itself at the dinner table, basically. So that's kind of key. And I think that's powerful. And fundamentally, we bring this point up all the time. And I was thinking this just a moment ago. It's like, you're going to hear us say a lot of things a lot of the time. Yeah. And I want you, those of you who are here, part of the Marriage Matters family, I want you to start to pinpoint those things. Yeah. Because the things you hear us repeat from show to show, time to time, those are the things that make this work. Yeah. Those are the things that we've implemented, we've applied, that make this work for us. Those are the things that when we engage with other couples, we're sharing those things with them because it makes what they're doing work. That's right. These are the things that people have gone away and have testified and said, you know what, this works for us. Yes. This is working for us. And the core point I want to bring up now is, you can't know someone unless you're friends with them. And this is why friendship and communication is key. Yeah, you understand that? Friendship, 100%. Like we've said it from day, we'll continue to say it, communication is powerful between the couple, and you need to be friends. What I think is really, really significant is that we highlight the fact that that communication needs to be below a little deeper than just that surface level. Yeah. Do you understand? I think when we were together, when we started dating in the beginning, we spent a lot of time on the phone. Yeah. We did. And I think what was good was that we discussed a lot of different aspects of our character, a lot of the different aspects of our relationship. Yeah. We spoke about a lot of different aspects of our family. Yeah. We made an endeavor to really get to know each other. Yeah. And I think today there's a lot of this shallow conversation. And I think the deepness that we had in conversation and communicado as we started out really built a foundation for us to understand each other's family, to understand each other's kind of emotional disposition. And those things built a base. So I'm talking about before you're planning dates 4, 5, and 6, you want to have had some significant time conversing and getting to know each other on that mental level. Because a lot of people just want to sit down, go to the cinema, watch a movie together in that dark room. They want to go out to dinner, kind of like the puppy eyes, and kind of be reaching across the table to hold hands. But the reality is, we need to communicate to understand if we can be friends. Yeah. Well, he's like. So that's my take. That's just my take on it. And I think that base of communication helps in situations like you're a year in, you're 2 years in, you're 3 years in, and it's funky. Yeah. There's a smell in the relationship. And why? It's not quite right. And you've got that base of communication. You know, look, I don't want to make it seem like it's easy. It does get easier. Yeah. But I don't want to make it appear as though it's easy. Because it's not. The reality is, it takes time and it takes effort. But as we communicate, there could be a time where, so I'll say this and I'll go to that. So there could be a time where we're having a challenge. And because we're such good friends, it just really takes one of us to break the ice. Yeah. So. Or make a joke. Sister says, she knows, but she don't know. But so in one of the other shows we're going to come out with, we're going to talk to you guys about what we argue about. We're going to have an episode where we talk to you guys about what we argue about. And I think it's important. That's going to be interesting. It is, because I think, put that in your diary. because I think it's important that we not only discuss what we argue about, but also how we break out of those arguments. And that's what I want us to touch on a bit today. But obviously the guys won't know the kind of stuff that we go through and how we break out of those situations. The rules that we've set in place. You got to watch the next episode if you want it. Not the next one, the one after that, to get that. But I think those things are important. And if you don't have a union, if you're not in agreement, then breaking out of the funk isn't easy.
At all.
Because you're two strangers in a building together. Do you understand? Like, you may have been married for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Let's quickly go back. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, because I was just going to say, I mean, for me, I seriously think before you can even tackle the funk, breaking out the funk, we have to talk about getting into the funk.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm trying to
say?
Come
on now, let's go.
And I really feel like a lot of the times, married couples, I feel, can get a bit in that place where it's like, I don't have to deal with that because I'm going to be dealing with this tomorrow or the next day or the next day. I'm not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. So we don't have to tackle this now.
That's right.
And I feel like a lot of the times that's where issues begin to arise, because when couples are not dealing with what's at hand straight away,
come on.
It begins to build up.
Come on.
Like if you don't brush your teeth every day, you're gonna get
build up.
Build up.
I like
cavity.
that. I like that.
You understand? And all of a sudden you're gonna have to go and visit a dentist. You know, with every problem there's always a solution.
Yeah.
But they there's that saying that prevention is better than cure.
That's right.
Kind of thing. And for me, a lot of the times it's just that in marriages, people get so complacent with one another that they don't feel that they have to tackle issue by issue. It's let's tackle 5 at a time.
Yes.
Or let's wait till we hit 5, 6, 7
Yes.
before we really begin to think there's a problem here.
Really
we had one argument. That's nothing. Oh, he came home 2 hours late. That's a minor. Oh, she disrespected me in front of my friends or whatever. You know how men can be a bit, with their self-image, that whole don't talk to me like that in front of my people. That's a big thing.
She said men. I'm laughing. I was thinking, isn't that more of one of the our sisters?
It's everybody. It's fine. It's everyone. Because listen, for me, that was one of those things. It's like, you don't do that in front of people. Anyway, like you said, some of the things we argue about that's for another show. So for me, it's when people just wait and wait and wait, and then all of a sudden you've got 10, 15 issues to be dealing with, and then they try to deal with it all at once.
Come on now.
Which is just, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's a volcanic eruption.
So for me, a lot of the times when we're talking about, the funk in marriage or the bad taste or the issues or whatever you want to label it as, these things, it doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
It's, one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. And one thing we are definitely big fans of is tackling issues as they arise.
That's right.
Okay? So one wall comes, you knock it down. Another one comes, you knock it down. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with a wall so big and so thick that you're not going to know what to do with it. So for me, that's one of, that's an area that I really think that couples should really begin to just take hold of that. Take hold of that. Let's not wait for issues to become have a long list, as they say. Let's not wait for the list to get long before we're like, okay, now we need help. Now let's sit down and talk about this.
Yeah.
Now, oh, by the way, 3 weeks ago, remember 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And sometimes it depends on the couple. You might have a partner who is very laid back and doesn't hold on to things. You get on his nerves or you get on her nerves and she's just like, oh, whatever. And you've got another one who's like, just counting.
Taking note. Yeah.
And then when they want to address it, the other person's like, but that was 3 weeks ago. Why are you talking to me about that now? But for the person who's offended, they're still offended. For that spouse who actually felt hurt, they're still hurt.
Right.
Whereas the other person's like, oh, get over it. That was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, and then that can then bring in, okay, so you actually really don't care about my feelings. Yes, it was 3 weeks ago, but you still did this. Yes. And we haven't dealt with that, So all of these things for me are, stages and areas where marriages can begin to get into that really sticky place.
This is real powerful. This is real powerful. I like this. Yeah. I like this. This is real juicy. And I think I agree massively, as you would know. Don't you think that a lot of that build up, so I want to talk about so many different things now. So that build up, I want to tackle the issue of kind of the pride. So there's a bit of, it appears though there's some pride there in that situation. But going back just a few steps, doesn't this really come down to not really knowing? You made a point earlier on about this is why you got to know your spouse. You've got to know your partner. And doesn't it really come down to not knowing your partner? Because it's a combination of not knowing your partner, and it's also a combination of not being united. Do you know what I mean? Well, because if I don't want us to break into kind of the stuff that we're going to talk about in a few weeks. Let's open it up a little bit. Look, so the way we are, as you've said, we like to address things early. Yeah. All right. But where did that come from? We made a decision on one fateful day. Yeah. We had a conversation and we were talking and we came to the agreement. I remember I said to you, look, let's not permit things to carry over. This is what the scriptures say. Yeah. Let's deal with things today. Yeah. Do you understand? Let's deal with things in the moment, in fact. And if we do that, we won't hurt each other ignorantly. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. We will be of a sound mind as we progress forward in our relationships. So that was something we set out in advance. So there's that kind of area where you care about your partner to the point you're saying, okay, look, let's take these steps now so that we don't hurt each other later. But at the same time, imagine if you've made that agreement. So you've said, okay, look, let's quash things early. But the pain felt so bad. It was so kind of harsh that you feel as though you can't bring it up yet. Yeah. Do you understand? Okay. So in that situation, what are we talking about? Pride, really? Or are we talking about pain? Like what are we looking at there?
Let's ask our wonderful peeps out here. Okay, so if you think that it is a pride issue, why people do not actually bring it up so quickly, or if you think it's just a thing of where some people just don't know how to communicate, because let's not forget, everyone was raised differently.
That's right.
Everybody was raised differently. Some people were raised in a home where they all sat down at the table every Sunday. That's right. Oh, so Samantha, how was your day? Oh, so Johnny, tell mummy about this. Oh, Nikki, tell daddy about that. Some people grew up in families where they spoke a lot. So to sit down with their spouse and say, honey, A, B, C, D, that's fine for them. But that spouse might have grown up in a single parent home. Okay, let me not do statistics, okay? Yeah. Might have grown up in a home where no one spoke to them. They were left to their own devices, and it was just like, oh, how are you? Yeah, all right, cool. You know, not taking interest. So when these people get, because there's something you always say that I think is so important. Adults are, what is it? Big children.
Some adults
are just big children in a sense, because a lot of us haven't fully grown. Yeah. A lot of people are still stuck in that childish in that childish place, and people who are stuck in childish place get married.
That's right.
Because they look good, or they can afford it, or they can, or they're able to approach a young lady and get her, or she's able to look like a woman, but inside she's dealing with teenage issues. And then these are also things that can cause relationships to break down. Yeah. Because you have two people who are supposed to be adults, but deep down inside they're still children.
That's right. So you've got for lack of a better phrase, you've got adults, adult bodies, children at heart, and they're together. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah. So because for me it's like there isn't one thing, and there's never going to be one thing, guys. Come on, let's be real. People are like, we can
probably find one.
We come with so much. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
We do.
We come with so much, and then you've got two people coming into a relationship, coming into a marriage with so much. Yeah. That's why, getting counselling, getting coaching is so important.
Yeah,
it's so important because
that's rich.
Like the scripture says, cast all your cares onto the Lord, for He will care for you.
That's right.
It's like again, before people do get married, they should find an accountability couple to pass some of these burdens. Not that you're giving the person your issues, but you're obviously talking to them to help you through these, these issues that people are facing. So for me, that's definitely like a big thing, just the fact that a lot of the times, okay, so ladies, let me just address it to my beautiful sisters out there, okay? So before you were married, this handsome young man, in your opinion, approaches you, and you hit it off. 2 years later, you're walking down the aisle, but in those 2 years of getting to know each other, it was all play. Yes. Do you get what I'm trying to say? It's all play. Come on. No, nothing serious really being spoken about. The hard issues not being tackled.
That's right.
The real tough conversations not being had. So it's all fun and games for 2 years. Yep. But then, but I've known you for 2 years. We've been together for 2 years.
That's right.
How come it's now that we're married that this is coming up?
Yeah.
So these are things that a lot of the times people have to think about. And that's why I always say, if you have friends that are in relationships now, that are courting or that have been with someone and they're almost in that place of getting married, and you know that they might not have this knowledge. Like, okay, yeah, it's all fun and games.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have been, you know, you've traveled the world in these 2 years. You've had so much fun. Your careers are hitting off. But do remember, there's something called issues that will have to be addressed.
That's right.
And how are those issues going to be addressed?
Absolutely.
You know, so for me, yeah, that's
powerful. Again, really rich, really powerful stuff. I think there's a difference between experience and education, and I think we have that. Like a lot of us have experience in relationships, experience in marriage, but we're not getting educated on marriage. There is no understanding, and what we lack, what we lack that understanding, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Where we are educated, we're able to make educated decisions, educated choices. We have an understanding. This is called wisdom. But on the flip side, where we merely have experience, all we can do is make experiential decisions.
That's right.
Experiential choices.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, because the latter is essentially learning by on the job, is what they call it, and it's what do you call it? Trial and error.
Yeah.
It's trial and error. Now, if you think your relationship is only worth trial and error, continue as you go. But the truth of the matter is, where we know we desire success, we make an effort. Like you said, coaching, counseling. The core one, for those of you who don't want to spend money, you need accountability.
Partners.
This is at the core. At its core, what we need are sober, sound people that we can rely on, trust in, who we can be held accountable to.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Every relationship needs an accountability couple, and if you don't have one, you need to go out and get one. It's really important.
Yeah.
If you don't want to make it a formal thing, you don't want coaching, you don't want counseling, you need to look for the best couple, the couple that you know in your vicinity that has the best of something. You know, Sarah said it before, it's like, it's not everyone that's got the best of everything. You understand? There's challenges everywhere. But you know, a couple that you know, their connection is strong, their communication is good, their children rearing is good. You know, they've got one or two things, preferably two or three things on lock. They've got it on tap. I'm not saying no issues, no problems, but they're ahead of you, somewhat ahead of you, and they're doing well. They may be younger than you.
It's true.
They may not be the same culture as you, but you can see that they're benefiting, they're winning in that relational game, in the marriage game. And people. This I'm preaching, boy. People, this really comes down to what was I going to say? This really comes down to humility. I'm sorry, that's what I was going to say, because for us to expose ourselves to another couple, that takes a great degree of humility. And some people can do it so freely, kind of just so, they're just so candid. You know, this is going on, that's going on. But even then, it takes a degree of humility to be open and to share what's really going on, what's really in your heart. And listen, we all need accountability.
And can I just say something on that point? If your spouse is not in agreement with you on getting an accountability partner, that in itself is an issue. That's a sign of, you know, the partner wanting to be everything right in their own eyes, in a sense. And that's a problem, because if someone cannot, you know, open up to another person already, that's, if they can't open up to their spouse, let's just say, first of all, if they can't open up to their spouse, then that's obviously an issue. Okay, because definitely 100%, if you're gonna fix anything in your marriage, okay, it has to be done by communication.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're not mind readers. Zeke, what am I thinking?
How much you love me?
All right. He gets that every time. No. And, you know, but this is what I'm saying. Like, we're not mind readers. And there's no amount of sex. There's no amount of kissy touchy. There's no amount of gifts. There's no amount of babies. I don't know, houses. Anything that you can feel and touch that is going to replace true communication.
Come on now.
There's nothing.
Come on now.
Okay? So for me, 100% being able to begin to, especially if especially if someone's, if a husband or a wife isn't a talker.
That's right.
You have to find your partner's thing.
Yeah.
What makes them talk? What makes them feel comfortable?
Yeah.
What makes them feel good enough to express themselves wholeheartedly to you? And then even if not to you, to be able to do that with a third party involved. Okay? Because, they say no man is an island on its own, and no marriage is an island on its own. No marriage is self-made. We don't really agree with that self-made statement, because there's no such thing really, And it's the same thing with marriage. No marriage is self-made.
That's right.
Every marriage started with someone, with people helping. Even your big wedding day, you could not have done that on your own. So even if you just want to look at that by itself,
your character wasn't formed all by itself. You may feel as though you came from a family and you're totally different from the family you came from, but at its root, at its core, there are things that you have that came from them. So even if we want to talk about genes and genetics, it all dials back to God ultimately.
Definitely.
So we can't. It'd be wrong of us. It would be pride, a great expression of pride for us to say, I'm a self-made person. I've got a self-made relationship. We made this all by ourselves. You understand? Even seeing someone doing something that you think is wrong contributed to your relationship. That's wrong. Yeah. I don't want none of that. Yeah. They helped you indirectly.
So
do you understand?
True.
This is the realness.
True.
So there's a lot there. You spoke on so much good stuff there. And I think, we have to really kind of go back. We spoke about expectation. We spoke about distraction.
Yes.
And I think, now we're kind of talking about communication. And it's so key. It's fundamental. If that foundation of friendship does not exist, it's a problem. You spoke about a husband or a wife who doesn't want to be open. When we started out early on, I guess that was me in a sense. So
you was quite concealed.
Yeah, I was. I was,
as you can tell,
I was extremely, I was an extremely reserved character, and I won't say that I'm not that way anymore. Yeah. But what I would say is, it took Sarah a good degree of effort to kind of just come at me and come at me and come at me, and I was interested in her. We were interested in each other, but just the way that I was in my character, I didn't really feel like talking was the thing. Do you understand? So we'd spend time together. We'd enjoy each other's company. Of course, we kind of went out. We went shop. We did a lot of the typical things people would do when they were dating. Yeah. But when it came to communication, I think we learned the hard way that communication was important. I think we really did. I think we really did.
But what I did appreciate at the time was, even though you didn't really talk, there was a sign that you wanted to talk when you'd write me letters. So he'd just put it all in a letter. I'm thinking, what is wrong with you? Is this a black man? What's going on? Why are you writing me? Black people don't write letters.
Oh my goodness.
So that was like a telltale sign that you wanted to talk, but maybe you didn't want to talk to me directly just then. But you said what you had to say on paper.
Yeah, I think so
that was kind of like a sign that he's willing to open up. Yeah, but maybe just not yet directly.
I think the key there was the important things I put on paper.
Yeah,
the things I felt were real important. I'd put them on a note and I'd be like, "Don't play with me, girl. This ain't a game." You understand? So I'd put them down so that, not so that much that we had a record, but so that I felt that, I think you're right.
That was like records. You just wanted it to be like, I told you this, it was on paper. There's nothing you can say about it. Do you know what I mean? There's the evidence.
That was a way I had of expressing myself, essentially. And I think, so as much as we would not talk, you're so right, I'd write a letter and express myself. And I know we've got people kind of online with us watching who are courting, and you guys are in the earlier stages of.
I really want us to talk about that,
of the marriage situation, and I really want us to really just chime in here, because I think the courting aspect is really, really powerful. It's important for us to have the mind to understand that you guys are included too. And a lot of what we're talking here and now are things that you need to be kind of mindful of. You need to be observant of. Is he or she a communicator? Is he or she someone I can really form a strong friendship with? Is there do we have a bond of trust as friends here? And I think these things are key.
Trust,
these things are key. Look, these things are so key because where there is no foundation of friendship, a friendship is built on trust. And when Sarah's talking about not talking, not opening up, not wanting to open up in front of others, a lot of those things, that pride is present because we haven't unraveled the higher level layers to get down to that real deep space of trust, which in essence is a characteristic of love.
Yes, because I was even just going to say on that point, it's like people are running and chasing to be lovers.
Yes,
but they're not really running and chasing to be friends. And it's sort of like the friendship aspect is what's going to keep you in the marriage, not the lover aspect. Obviously, both together is a blessing. Hello, somebody. But when push comes to shove, there's no kissy, and you know that is going to really fix a situation than a friendship will.
Yeah, I think the confusion is this. I think people have this mindset of, that's my friend. You know, we hear the term the friend zone, one of those kind of things. And it's like, so, yeah, you've been friend zoned. And because of that, it's kind of like, all right, you know what? This relationship can't go to another level, to another stage. Yeah. And I think what's important for us to understand is it's not every friend that you will marry.
Oh God.
Do you understand? It's not every friend that you'll marry. It's
because people get married a few times, and isn't it? If they're trying to marry every friend.
Listen, and so
let's not do that.
There's a clear differentiation between the type of friend, and the level of friendship that you have
with the person that is
moves, that progresses, that aspires to courtship and marriage. So it's not, and again, it's not that we're evaluating every friend that we've got, but there is a friendship that must be formed. You're so right.
Has to be
as a foundation.
Yes.
People that get engaged or that find themselves in marriages where they're lacking friendship, ask them. They will tell you something is missing.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
The relationship doesn't, it's like they may get on, they may engage, but there is a lack of power.
Yeah.
There's a lack of spice. Do you understand? It's like you've added all purpose, but there's something missing.
Scotch
bonnet.
bonnet.
You understand? Yeah, the pepper. It's like you sit there, and so I think this is one of the challenges that people don't acknowledge. It's like they think friend zone, or that's just my friend, and they don't understand that the friendship, as you've said, is the ingredient.
100%.
That trust there, that is the foundation of this love. And it's funny because it makes me think about, even I'm sidetracking, my relationship with God. And it's like the fact I can be a friend with God, the fact God said he wants to be a friend to me, not just a father, but a friend. That is a powerful,
it changes the dynamics of the intimacy, doesn't it?
Such a powerful perspective.
It changes the dynamics
such a powerful perspective. It's not just someone who will instruct you and guide you and lead you, but also someone who you can come to as a confidant, someone that you can rely on in a time of need. A friendship transcends all levels of life.
That's right.
Do you understand that? A friend can be there when you're having issues at work. A friend can be there when there's an issue with children. A friend can be there when there's a loss, when there's a new birth.
Yes.
That friendship transcends those levels of life. And when we understand that in the context of marriage, in the context of choosing a spouse, I'm talking to you people out there, who are courting, you're at all those levels there. This is a reality that helps us go forward.
Yeah. And I'm going to say to those who are married right now, and you know that is something that you and your husband haven't really figured that out, I think it's important to take time to really begin to build a friendship.
Come on now.
Because, I mean, it's like with most things. Let's think about our normal day-to-day friends.
Yeah.
How many times have you stopped talking to a friend and then, because you love that person so much as a friend and they've been through, you've made up.
Yeah.
You've made up. But some people have been in relationships with a lover and they've never spoken to that lover again because there was nothing there. There was nothing there. And some people's marriages are literally like that. Their lovers are not friends. And it's 100%, it's a friendship that can help with the topic that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
building your relationship, how to deal with situations, getting rid of the funk in your marriage, you know, all that kind of stuff. These are some major tips that can help you. I want us to go to the comments because we have our beautiful people out there, and the comments are popping.
Thank you for the fire in the comments section.
Yes, we're gonna go from the top. You know, we always go from the top, guys. Bear with us, yeah.
All right. So what we're gonna do as we go through the comments, we're gonna come back after, and we're gonna begin to talk about some of the tactics and strategies that we use to overcome the funk. Some of the tactics and strategies that you guys can use to overcome the funk and the challenge in your relationship. Take it away, Sister Says.
Okay. Hi, Ecos Mios. Hey. Passing when freely, girl. Come on.
Some people be doing that.
Yeah, but it's true. And you know what? It's probably just that thing where it's, oh, yeah, you know. No, let's not talk about that.
No, look. So there are layers. There are layers. If you're in a relationship and your partner is cool with that, it's like, okay, they're cool with that. Yet the reality is, you know, we've got self-control and we need to be mindful of our partners. Listen,
and our environment.
For some spouses, that is the most distasteful thing on the planet. You did what? Where?
It's true.
For who? And how? So it's like, we need to address that, and we need to just be mindful and conscious. No, seriously, those things. Sometimes where those are the things that are really lowering the standard of it. Would you do that on your first date? Would you do that on your first date?
If the person does it, you have to respect that.
Yeah,
you have to respect that your partner doesn't like that kind of stuff. And even though, you know, you and your siblings, you know, farting all over the place when you were kids or whatever, or you and your friends, you just sit there. But in a marriage, it's completely different. You know, you have to respect if the person doesn't like that. So yeah, okay. So it says, some may consider that a sign of comfortability. I think she's talking about that. That's right. That's what I was just saying. Yeah. Definitely. Hey, Kat Johnson. Hey.
Yo.
Taurine. Hey, everyone. Did you guys plan to match by wearing white tops today? I love it.
So, for the record, I was wearing this top first.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know what? I had this dress and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to wear this today. But it also means that, but this dress also has a significance for me today. And I don't want to say, but today is a significant day. That's why I'm wearing this dress. So yeah.
Is that what you wore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember?
Of course I do. Okay. She's wearing it in memory of somebody. So
yes.
Yeah, someone dear.
Somebody dear to me.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Iconwin says, yes, I love the match. You know, they all read the chats before we did.
They're talking over there. They're talking over there.
He's all gone before us already anyway. So we got, okay, so wow, the closeness. Okay, so Nathan and Cheryl say hi, guys. Hi, Nathan and
guys.
Cheryl.
Hey.
Thank you. Welcome to Marriage Matters. If you're still here, please, we just want to welcome you. Thank you so much. And Mr. Icon said, great question. I can't remember what the question was. Lady baby, help me out here. Shamengos. Yes, okay. Lady Shamengos. I hope I said that correctly. It says, okay, she says, I think it also has a lot to do with the culture input of our parents, as well as subjects that were very taboo.
Absolutely. It's key. I think when we look at our relationships, when we look at the challenges, when we look at the things that have been brought in, a lot of what we are dealing with today in our relationships are constructs of how we got here.
Yes.
How did we get here?
Yes.
My parents.
My wife's parents.
My grandparents. My wife's grandparents. And all of those things are contributory factors. I said it one time, one of my brothers, Samuel, he made a good point on that. And it's just like when you look at a relationship, when you look at two people, they are the sum total of a number of people that they inherited their characteristics from. And it's one of those things we need to be clear on. We need to be mindful of those things. So when we come together, we need to have mama and papa in mind, because there are things we saw in them that may be good or maybe negative that may rightly or wrongly affect our relationship, bring in the funk, or maybe in certain terms, we'll come to it soon, help to alleviate some funk.
And this is why as well, Lady Shamingos, that's a really good point, because a lot of the times when two people come together, there are aspects of their relationship that they don't even discuss. You know, like, what was your mum like? Because some people, I know your mum, I know my in-law, but we don't. You really know your in-law?
Come on.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Come on.
And then when the wife is portraying certain traits, because you have not really investigated to find out what the family or her mum or her dad or her siblings are like, You don't know where this is coming from.
Come on now.
And that's an issue. And that's an issue in itself.
2 weeks back, 2 shows back, we spoke about this, and the hard questions you need to ask early before you get into a relationship.
Yes,
and
let's ask these questions.
Like we're talking about now, these are some of the issues. We need to discuss these things early so we can understand. No, are they crazy? Where you come from? Because if they are, we need to deal with that. Do you understand?
And it's not, but you know what as well? I think obviously, especially with, we're always like, have those hard conversations. But a lot of people think if I have those hard conversations, she gonna run.
Yeah, and listen.
Like, they might not like me if I bear all.
This is what you need to do, because if they do run, they weren't for you. If they're running now, they gonna run later.
That's true.
Do you understand?
That's true.
And
but some people are like, oh no, but we're married now, so you can't go anywhere.
No, listen. That is a mindset. Listen.
Now, even if it's 1 or 2 years, they can't go anywhere for now.
I think the statistics tell us the truth on that. So as much as people
divorce
think that,
rates are high.
thank you.
Divorce rates are very high.
As much as people think that as an ideal, it's not a reality for many people. There are those. I'm talking about even people that tell you that they are a Bible believer, they tote a Bible, and they sit in the pews of a church. That is not a reality for many people.
That's true. Okay, you go. Your turn.
Where we at?
So, Mios, a whole 2 years later, why was he so indecisive?
You know, it happens. It happens like that. It does happen like that. Thank you so much, everyone in the comments. Lighting it up. Accountability couple is key. Absolutely. If you ain't got one, you need to get one.
Yes.
Lady Chimingos again. She says, I also think trust, honesty, and just keeping things real should be some of the key ingredients when looking for a couple who you would mirror your marriage on. You see, that's powerful. What you really want is someone, you've summed it up, absolutely. And what you want is a degree of transparency. You can't expect your accountability couple to bear all to you, because you may not be their accountability couple.
That's true.
But they need to be willing to share some stuff with you.
Yeah, some kind of openness.
So what you're saying is very, very key.
True.
You want to see in them things that are beneficial for your own relationship. So, i.e., their relationship is working in certain areas, but you also want to see the personal characteristics, the personal traits in them that you can trust in and rely on. So, going back to what we were talking about previously, they need to be almost a friend to you.
Yes.
Someone who you feel as though would be a good friend to you. They've got integrity. There's someone you can trust and rely on. Do you understand? They're open and honest, exactly as you've said. So, I think that's a great point. Thank you so much for that. Ami Azobo says, I agree, Lady Chimingos. I also feel that the couple should be intentional about growth, both growing themselves as individuals and growing their marriage. Couples that grow together stay together.
Yes,
that's powerful, and we spoke about some of that in some of the last few streams, really talking about the significance. The next stream is going to be talking on that, tackling that point at its heart, and I think it's really, really important. We start together. We spoke 2-3 episodes back about your personal MOT.
Yeah.
I need to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. I need to ensure that I know what I'm doing before I get in a relationship. But when I join with you, your personal MOT, if you pass, my personal MOT, if I pass, we need to come together. We need an MOT for our marriage.
That's right.
We need a plan and a vision for our marriage. Where are we going? What are we doing? How are we building? And these things are key.
Yeah. And remember, guys, because I feel for us, like, we've really stamped on this MOT thing. And just remember, every year your MOT expires.
That's right.
Because that car is being used. It's being used. It's going through mileage. It's going through different things, different seasons and all that kind of stuff. So even if you just use that as a point of reflection to say, okay, look, if I'm servicing my car once a year, if I've got insurance on my refrigerator, my TV, and my phone, and all these kind of things, what's my insurance for my marriage? What's my service check for my marriage? So that is one of the things that on Marriage Matters you will always hear us kind of bring up.
That's right.
You gotta have your MOT.
You've got to be protecting yourself before you get into marriage.
Yeah.
How? By ensuring that you're the best person that you can be.
Yeah.
You need to protect yourself when you get into marriage by ensuring that you as a couple are the best you can be. And that in itself isn't always easy. I may be trying to pull along Sister Sarah in certain ways. She may be trying to pull me along in certain ways. And there can be a degree of resistance. And we need to figure out, that's what we're talking about today, clearing that funk. How do we work together for the greater success of our relationship, our legacy, our family?
Yeah. Really
great questions, great comments, I should say. Thank you so much, guys. Keep bringing it. Cheers about Rafu. Fists up. We love you, sis. We love you, sis. I got house. That's not in English. If you want to translate it for me, then that will be really useful. Thank you so much for your comment.
Yes,
Kat Johnson.
Yes, we hope you're still here.
Kat Johnson, 100% agree. Emi Azabo. Lady Chimingos, so true. She says to Ami, if you can't grow with your partner, you're wasting your time. We are like trees planted to grow. This is,
praises,
I'm so happy that kind of we're all in alignment on this. And it's really important. This is really, really powerful.
Yes.
Our sole purpose here is to lift. Like, we are all here to lift. Do you understand that? We've been called here to shine a light and to lift. It's not about me alone. It's not about Sister Sarah alone. It's about what we can do to lift. Do you understand? God has a plan, and his plan is for all of us to be enriched, for all of us to live a life greater than that which we are living right now. So this is what we're called to do. It's really powerful.
And you know, the marriage institution is under attack.
Come on now.
From in so many areas.
Come on.
Especially in the world that we're living in today. You know, society doesn't want marriages to work. They want the fruits of marriages. Children.
That's right.
You know, growth.
They need the fruits of marriages.
You know,
that's right.
But they don't want marriages, you know, and this is why for us, Marriage Matters is so important.
Come on now.
Because if we can do the little we can do to continue to impact and support and encourage marriages
we want to encourage you guys
to flourish and grow, that's what we're going to do. So, yeah.
You want to go?
Keep reading. I keep reading.
Lady Chimingo, she says, do not get married to someone who isn't your friend, because what will end up happening is you'll find yourself confiding in someone else because you can't be in a level with your husband or wife.
Wow.
You see, so we spoke earlier on about expectation.
That's a whole sermon, Lady Chimingos. A whole sermon.
We spoke earlier on about expectation, and I think expectation is key. You see this here, and this is why from the outset, you need to understand who you're with. Yeah. You need to understand where you're going.
100%.
And it's important. This friendship factor is not to be played with at all. Not at all.
At all.
Tori, she says, I love that you touched on education versus experience. Such an important topic. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sis. Thanks for being here today. Lady Chimingo says, if they run, they weren't for you. What's for you won't go by you. Someone who can tolerate you when you bear it all is someone who will walk the whole 9 miles with you.
Ooh.
Now, you see, that's powerful. That's powerful. That's rich. And I'm so glad. It's like, again, like this is a point I was making a moment ago, and it's very, very important that we understand.
Very important.
You know, if you ask the hard questions early, do you know what happens? You tackle the hard issues early.
Yes.
So I'm not saying everything will be okay, everything will be fine, but what you're able to do is you're able to kind of weed through the chaff. Do you understand? And the wheat. So the good parts, they come up early. Yes. The ones who came to mess about, it's like, this is why I don't want to tackle it too much here, but this is why chastity is so important. When I speak to my sisters here, and I encourage my daughter, and I'll continue to encourage the young people that are around me, that it's important for you to keep yourself. Keep yourself. The TV may say give it all. The teachers at school may say give it all. Everybody in your community might say give it all. But what you're able to do is, if you can hold yourself, keep yourself, you can be dedicated unto God in that manner, you get rid of those time wasters. Some people are here just to try before they don't buy. Do you understand that? They want to try and not buy. And in doing that, they're wasting your time. And they're inflicting emotional pain on you. True. This is very, very important. It's very important that we understand that we are valued. We are valued. And if we can really focus on the fact that God has called us as sacred unto him, and if we can protect ourselves in that way, we find that via that protection, we keep ourselves from unnecessary hurt and unnecessary harm. Yeah, definitely. Real important, real important. Thank you so much, everybody who's been up in the comments. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Keep sharing your thoughts, and keep talking, because like we've established, you guys are communicating with each other as you're talking in the chat. So it's so important, because everything that you're all writing here is blessing someone.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's blessing someone. We're praying that the day this will get to 1,000 views and all that, because you never know, and your chats will still be in there. You never know who who your words are gonna bless. So continue to be a blessing. Yes. Oh, good evening, Mr. Osa.
We praise God. We praise God. Thank you for joining us, sir. So listen, so before we wrap up, let's talk about some of the ways you started it from the top end, but let's talk about some of the ways that we can assist. How can we get out of the funk? You're in a relationship, you feel moody, you feel like you just need some me time. You feel like your partner don't understand you.
Yeah.
You feel like things aren't the way that they should be in the beginning. What's the name of that film that everyone used to watch back in the day? Why Did I Get Married? That's how you're starting to feel now. The funk is real. The funk is real. I'm doing all this work. I'm putting in all this labor, but I ain't getting the return. I ain't getting the fruits of my labors, whatever they may be.
My investment is not increasing.
So what can we do?
Yeah.
Sister Sarah started us off. She said about coaching. She said about counseling. She spoke about accountability. All right. So
and
coaching.
Friendship. Got to throw friendship
of
in there.
Of course. Coaching, coaching, counseling, accountability, and friendship. So those are some key areas. Now, get yourself a coach. Get somebody. And listen, coaching isn't always two husband and wife. Sometimes coaching is one of you. Do you understand? So it's one of you. Sarah said it earlier on. What if your partner isn't keen? They don't want to open up. You go and get some coaching for yourself.
That's right.
You need to figure out, how can I?
That's right.
How can I?
That's right.
And as you begin to get better in those areas, you can contribute.
Yes.
You can act.
Yes. Because, honey, that is such an amazing point. Because a lot of the times we always think we have to do it together. Together. We have to go to counselling together. We have to do this together. Yes, you do. But if a marriage is in a place where it's kind of, as they say, so far gone with issues.
Yep.
It can take one of you, just one of you, to get that marriage back on track.
That's right.
It really can.
That's right.
Okay. And that's not something we're going to talk about now, right? But that is a reality.
Absolutely.
That is a reality. You know, and if you're in a marriage right now and you're thinking, I can't do this all by myself.
You're feeling stuck.
I need my spouse to walk on this journey of fixing things with me. Actually, you can single-handedly bring that relationship back on track.
It's funny. I had a conversation earlier on today, and I'll bring it in really quickly. And essentially what I was sharing on the phone was that the Bible tells us, for those of you who are Christians, who are believing, the Bible says that, you know, it's the believing spouse, if they're in a situation where they're in a relationship with an unbelieving spouse.
Yes, come on now.
And typically when we look at that, we look at it as the believer, the unbeliever, you know, the Christian, the unchristian. Sometimes it's the Christian and the immature Christian. Sometimes it's the spiritual and the carnal. And the rule
That's right.
applies across that plane. And what's important is the one was not told to leave. They were told that, you know what, you cover them.
Yeah.
Your prayers, your labor, your conduct covers them and can help encourage them. So I'd encourage you in that way. And I'd say, look, pray for your spouse, pray for your partner. I'd say do the right things. And as you do the right things, you're actually a testament. You're a testimony to your partner. I don't want us to kind of keep you guys for too long, so we'll move forward. So Sister Sarah touched on it, and I'll say this again, like, so when we talk about counselling, I want you to really think about this. Counselling generally should be done in twos. If you can do it in twos, it's a little different from coaching. Coaching is different because essentially you're leaving there with action plans, activities, things you can go out, tasks you can go and do. Counselling is more kind of like a monologue-ish, and you do get those kind of the aspect of a dialogue, but it can be one-sided. So it's good for you to both go if you can go for counselling. We spoke about accountability partners. Every couple needs an accountability couple. I didn't say an accountability person. I said an accountability couple. That's very important. If you're a man, you may need a confidant as a man to be accountable to. If you're a woman, you may need a confidant as a woman to be accountable to. But as a couple, accountability couples are what you need. That helps massively.
And if you're married and you're watching this and you have an accountability partner, let us know in the comments, because a lot of the times, you know, some people thinking, oh, really, accountability? Let people know that you have, because it's important for other couples to begin to see that, oh, this is actually a thing.
It is a thing.
It is a thing. So let's support each other in the comments.
I tell you this now, we had gone so long without accountability, but it makes a difference. Like the Lord really helped. The Lord graced us massively. We were talking yesterday or the day before about how we learned a lot by mistake. But once we switched on to the kingdom, we switched on to God, he was so gracious to us to help us and give us the advice. There were some tapes, some CDs we were listening to, conferences we were going to, things that were helping. Those are other things that you can use to get out of the funk. So we've spoken about literally kind of engaging with someone, counselling, coaching, accountability. You've got friendships. I mentioned that as well, guys, girls, and groups. But also you've got like tapes, CDs, books. We spoke about education earlier on. Get educated. Get yourself educated. And Take action on the education you're getting. It doesn't need to be, okay, I'm going to pay someone a few £100s to coach me. Okay, cool. Go out, spend £9, buy a book. They sell books for £2-3 on Amazon these days. Get a good book, read some comments, and read some of the reviews, and get a good book. Get a good book that can help you. You may need to get a few before you get to some of the good juice, and that will help you. That will help you.
Yeah, and on the note of reading, some people aren't big fans of reading.
It's audiobooks.
Some people don't enjoy it, but there's something I found that makes it a lot easier if you get someone to read with you. Say, look, I've got this book. We're both married.
That's right.
Let's dive into this book. Have you read it before? No. Okay, look, let's get it and let's read together.
That's a power key.
And what you're doing is you're also helping someone else's marriage while they're helping you along with your reading. So that's something that you could definitely do.
Take note of that. Take note of that.
Accountability reading partner.
Start a book club.
Start a book club.
All right, so just jumping forward a little bit more. So this is for the more spiritual, and even for those of you who don't feel that you're spiritual, this is something you can tackle. Prayer. Prayer is powerful. So we can pray together. All right. Pray together. We can pray individually. Now, for those of you who are spiritual, or those of you who are believing, those of you who are Christians, this is really, really key. I find it really difficult. Now, it's the odd occasion where Sister Sarah, we might be in something, and she says, "Let's pray," and I'm like, "No." Like it's the odd occasion. It's like such a rarity. Prayer breaks walls down naturally and spiritually. Come on now. It's really, really important. So if she says to me, "Oh, I need to pray," like, can we pray together? Listen, I'm more than happy to pray. Do you understand? So that's me. I don't know how it is for every husband, every wife, but it's an encouragement. And I'm saying, if they're not willing to pray with you, pray by yourself. God hears you. Yeah.
And even just involving prayer at a time where you and your spouse are not on good talking terms, that actually helps to realign the situation, because it's like, okay, we're having this thing, but let's bring God into it.
That's right.
Let's bring God into it. And once you do that, you kind of realize, oh, okay. Even when you even start praying, your heart, you even begin to feel like, why are we even arguing? So that's a little stereotypical.
Yeah. So that's the realness there. Make an effort, push with prayer. Yes. You should be praying together all the time anyway. Like week to week, day to day. You guys should have a routine of prayer ultimately. But where you don't have that, this is another key that you can bring that in. And even where you have a routine of prayer, the extra prayers, the extra pull to pray, your partner knows something's up. Yes. They want to pray. Exactly. So it's like they know something's up. So bear that in mind.
So we'll be able to leave these in the description.
Yeah, we can add some of this in the description for you. Yeah. So
I feel like I see people like really trying to
take notes. All right, so cool. So another thing. Let's try and get a bit more practical now for you guys who we're moving from prayer, which is very practical. Let's get even more practical now. Yeah. So we're talking about doing more together. If you're in a funk, you've lost that kind of what do they say? The bushy kind of feeling, that bright eye, bushy tailed feeling that you had from the beginning of the relationship. Yeah, say again so they can hear you.
Lovey-dovey.
So you've lost some of that. So what we do is let's say, okay, let's do something together. And for some people, when was the last time you went out to the movies with your spouse? Yeah. Listen, we watched a great movie the other day. And it's different for yes, baby. It's different for different people. We watched this movie. We found it on YouTube about King Josiah. Yeah. We sat there after dinner. Was it during dinner? During dinner, we sat down. Kind of, I was mostly done, I guess. And we kind of
I ate slow.
We sat down and we watched this film, and it was a great time. It doesn't always have to be the cinema.
Yeah,
it doesn't always have to be the latest action flick that's full of messages. Thank you. Messages that are gonna pull your relationship down. Listen.
Yes.
Some of you are in a funk because you've spent too much time in the cinema. Do you understand that? But we need to spend time
on the screen.
That's right. Spend time together. So we can watch a movie together, a good, healthy, wholesome movie. We can go for walks together. We can talk together. Sarah made a point earlier on about the book. We could read together. Start a reading club at home. Reading with your spouse. Those are some key things that we can do. So there are a number of those things that we can do. Moving a little bit further from that, so we can revisit our vows. All right? And this doesn't have to be like a kind of a big, for real, this doesn't have to be like a big, big ceremony. You can just talk to your partner about revisiting your vows. Sometimes that starts with a simple conversation. Babes, why did we get married in the first place?
Exactly.
what was the purpose of our marriage?
Yeah.
And this is really, really helpful for those of you
who
don't have goals.
That's a big one.
If you don't have marriage goals and a marriage vision, this is really key for you.
That's
okay?
good.
So we're talking about revisiting your vows.
Yeah.
Revisiting the reason for the initial marriage in the first place. This will help you get out of your funk. I'm telling you, if you take it serious, you're able to commit to this, these things will really, really help you.
Yeah.
Again, for those of you who have a plan and maybe you've strayed from your plan, similar to the last one, you can revisit your plan. Revisit your plan. Why? Babes, where are we going? Honey, what are we doing? What's our focus?
Yeah.
What was the 2020 end goal? What's the milestone for 2020? What's the 2021 milestone?
Yeah.
How are we doing working towards that? You should be discussing these things week on week, month on month. But where you're not, this is an opportunity for you to kind of get out of the funk. You know, work has been heavy, children have been heavy, situations have been heavy, some life challenges have come in. We found ourselves in a funk. These are some of the things that we can do.
And you know, for me, laughter is such a big thing for me. Being able to like really just get in a position with your spouse to just really get into a laughing position.
Come on now.
You know,
have fun.
Where you're doing things where you're having fun, you're laughing, you're not really thinking about, you know, the stresses of life, and just remembering that, yeah, you know, we're two people who actually like to have a good time
together.
You know, it's not just when you're with your girls or when you're with your sisters or when you're with your friends or your brothers or whoever it may be. That's when you're laughing and that's when you're the funny one. You know, like some couples don't actually know that their partner's funny.
That's real. That is so real.
It's true.
That's so real.
You know, like, oh, when he goes out, he's like, you know, making
the
everyone
life of
laugh.
the party.
And she's like, I don't know, is this funny? And it's like, oh yeah, I am, but like we don't really get into that position where we're busting that much joke.
Yeah.
You know, those type of things, you know, just get into a place where, you know, you can just laugh with your partner, you know, and even sometimes as well, listen to music. Okay, listen to music that you both enjoy. That's a good, because for us, it's all about building a relationship.
Come on now.
Okay, it's about building a relationship.
It's powerful.
A marriage is not just, how can I say it? Like, and like when some people think about marriage, they're like, oh, those people, marriage, oh, you're locked up in something with someone, you have no freedom, oh, look at you got all these kids, oh, you're hanging, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Like, some people think of marriage and they get like really irritated because it's just like, oh, why would I want to put myself in that tied up, not a position? Whereas if couples are showing, and like I said, marriages are under attack.
That's right.
Okay, marriages are under attack. So a lot of the times the society makes you feel like husbands do things with your friends, wives do things with your girls, spa night, girls,
yes,
out in the town night with your boys. No, go to the spa with your spouse.
That's right.
Go out in the town with your spouse. Begin to, you know what, for me, one of the things that I would say sometimes to, you know, to married people, and if you're in that situation, you're about to get married, is you have to think sometimes that there's no one else but that person. Okay? If you're going to go anywhere, it's with this one. If you're going to do anything, it's with this one. If you're going to buy anything, you're going to consider this one. If you're going to eat anything, you're going to consider this one. You know, you just keep your partner in mind all the time.
Yeah.
Everything you do, keep your partner in mind. And if your partner isn't keeping you in mind and you're always keeping your partner in mind, believe me, it's going to get to a point where he or she's going to be like, well, they're always thinking about me, actually. Do you know what I mean? It's like sometimes we have to give, you know, the other person to bring, if there's imbalance, we have to keep doing things and slowly.
Come on now, that's right.
You know, if you keep pouring, if the cup is empty and you keep pouring water, it's gonna get filled up at some point.
That's right.
And that's just the way it is. But a lot of people are like, no, I'm pouring water. There's a leak somewhere. That's the funk that we're talking about. But all these things are things that can seal up those holes and seal up those cracks that can begin to allow your cup, your marriage cup, to fill up. That's powerful. You know,
That's powerful. You know what Sister Sarah is describing here is being selfless. And it's really important that when we talk about going to marriage coaching by yourself, when your spouse isn't really on it, when you talk about buying a book and trying to apply these things to the relationship yourself, when your spouse isn't keen, isn't motivated, when you're talking about trying to encourage your spouse to get an accountability couple because you know that you need to share things, and not only will it help you, but it will help them. These things are traits of being selfless.
Yeah.
Caring so much, you're willing to do these things, even at your own hurt, your own detriment. Do you understand? Because you care so much about the union. And this is really, really important, because a lot of times what we do is we say, you know what, you need to do it too. You need to do it too. I think it was the first episode of Marriage Matters, and we gave them the ratio question. How do you divide the responsibilities in a relationship? And, you know, quickly, what does everyone say? You should know the answer by now. You say, yeah, it's 50-50, half for you and half for me.
For those of you who haven't watched that, you can put what you think it is in the comment section, and let's see.
If you think it was 50-50, say 50-50. Let us know. Don't be shy. But the reality is, for a successful relationship, both parties need to give 100%. It's 100 from me and 100 from Says. And if we don't do that, if we're not willing to give all of ourselves, we're leaving something off the table. And this is where we find ourselves in this funk. Some people start out in this funk, some people end up in this kind of situation. So we need to work together to find our way out. I think the last thing I'll say on this before we close out, maybe read some more comments and we wrap up, is really just about, in your conversations, be clear. Be clear in your conversations. But at its root, what I really want us to do is to be honest. We need to be honest and transparent with each other. If I feel away, I need to tell you I feel away. And I don't need to... You made such a great point earlier on about letting things build up. And this is one of the major problems in relationships. They don't have a friendship that's strong enough for them to bring things out at the appropriate time. So you hurt me here, you hurt me there, I'm upset about this, I didn't like the way you said this when we were out with them, and X, Y, Z, and you build it up. And some of these things, as mentioned earlier on, are character traits we've had before we got into relationship. Some of these things are character traits that we've inherited from our parents, things we've seen our parents do, and because of that, we bring that in. We spoke about toxic relationships a couple of episodes back, and this is some of the toxins that we bring in that cause the relationship to be sick, stale, and stagnant.
Hun, on that note, I was even just going to say, try speaking to your spouse before you speak to anyone else about a situation.
Come on now.
Okay? If something happens, don't, I don't think it's always the best thing to pick up the phone and start reporting. Because what you're always going to have, you're going to be, telling someone something and they haven't got the full picture.
That's right.
Because they don't have it from your spouse's point of view. Okay? Hence when the accountability partners come in.
Come on now.
Okay? But, if you're so used to quickly grabbing the phone, calling mummy, calling sissy, calling your brother, calling, one of your colleagues at work, whoever it is that you feel that you're close with, and reporting your spouse, I think that's something that should begin to give. Speak to your if you speak to your partner and they're not listening and they're not, fair enough, but picking up the phone and phoning someone instantly to be like,
by default.
Yeah, because people do it by default.
That's no good.
People do it by default. Even if that's a habit that you do have and you're honest with yourself and you say, you know what, it's true, I do speak to X, Y, and Z before I speak to my husband about this thing.
And every time I do that, the situation ends up getting worse before it gets better.
And then even some people are like, but I spoke to you and you're like, and the husband, you didn't speak to me. It's like, oh no, it wasn't you actually. It was someone, do you know what I mean? It's like you were reporting him to someone else or you were reporting that to someone else. So these things are definitely, things that we have to begin to try to sift out of our marriages. Okay, there are little things. The Bible says it's the small foxes that spoil the vine.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah.
Praise God. Listen.
Hallelujah.
What have we got in the comments? We're gonna close out.
Yes. Oh, this one had me almost.
Ecosmios. Should we go from Ecosmios?
Try before you don't buy.
That's what
She's
they do.
Like, exactly. Kat Johnson says exactly. Don't try before you buy. This ain't Costco. Come on, girl. This ain't Costco. Come on now. Free samples. Go on, you can read.
No free samples.
Lady
Jamingo says, remember that marriage isn't easy. Walking away is always an easy option. Working at it makes the fruits of your labour even sweeter. That's so powerful. And if I start on that one, we're going to really go into it. I'll make this point. I say
Chamingos, do you have are you a preacher? Because some of these, you feel like you got some sermons up in here, girl.
I say it to
I like it.
I said to a lot of the men I speak to on a regular basis, it's like, to be a real husband, to be a real godly husband, it's work.
Yeah.
And I can only assume to be a real godly wife, it's work too. Yeah. There is a labour that's there, but I like the way that you surmise that. You said just stay in the long haul, it makes it even sweeter. And that is so powerful and so rich. You've got to think about that. Think forward. She went on to say, just like you're feeding your physical body, spiritual body, and your academic life, I'm assuming, feed your marriage too. Nurture your marriage, enhance and help grow your spouse. Powerful, rich. Yes. I agree 1000%. Mr. Akami said, come on now, Lily. Jamingo says, amen. If you can't share with your spouse first, it goes to show where you put your spouse on the hierarchy ladder. Your spouse should be your number one first. They should be your biggest fan. That is so powerful. Wonderful. And a perfect comment for us to close out the show on today. Listen, Marriage Matters, what are we here for? We're here to help you enrich your relationship, enrich your marriage, okay? And in turn, support and enrich your community. Thank you so much for everyone who's put your comments in. Lighten up the comments today. It's your conversations it's your comments that foster our conversation. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you all, guys.
Yes, we really, really do. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I mean, you could be doing anything right now.
We appreciate
but you're here. And it just goes to show, that marriage is important to you too. Your marriage is important to you too. Your friend's marriage is important to you as well. So please, guys, share this video. Help this video at least get to 100 views, whatever it may be.
Let's try what we can.
Let's share the word. Let's really, really, really share the word. To be honest, for us, it's not even really about that. To be honest,
no,
it's all about, even if we can help one marriage.
That's right.
one. To get to a better place from where it already is, then we know that the Lord is. He's
at work.
He's at work. So
Sister Sarah said it really clearly. Marriages are under attack.
They are.
And we need to be on the offensive. Yes. Okay? So when we talk about sharing this video, it's really about empowering and impacting others in their marriage, in their relationship, to find a stronger base in the power that God's given us. Yes. Listen, guys, I've been Ezekiel.
And I've been Sarah.
We've been here today with you guys for Marriage Matters Live. All right.
See you.
We'll catch you again later.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Love y'all.